Hello and welcome to the series on Microsoft Power Apps. In this video, we'll be creating a blank application, and in the upcoming videos, we will expand this application into our employee application and use our employee SharePoint site as our data source. So to get started, go through to your Power Apps portal, click on the new app and click on Canvas app. We'll be creating a Canvas application. And you can see over here in previous videos, we selected our data source for SharePoint. We're not going to do that now. We also, in the last video, we selected a template when we created the expense calculator. And in this video, we'll be selecting a blank application. You can see you have the phone layout that you can select, and you also have the tablet layout, as this application will mainly be used on laptops and PCs. It will be best to use this layout. If you intend to create an application that's going to only be used on mobile devices, then select the phone layout. But test both of them and see which one works best for you. So if you click on tablet layout, it will create our application. Note that the process is a lot quicker than if we're creating one from a template. This is because it has less to process. So we have a pop-up screen over here that says welcome to Power Apps. It gives us an option to create a form, and also gives us an option to create a gallery. I'm going to skip that because this is not what I want to do. I will be creating that all manually. I think the first thing that we should do is save this application. So if you click on File, you can see you have an app name. So I will call this Employee App 2. Again, you can select an icon that you would want. You can also select the color that you would like, but I'll just leave that all on defaults. And let's click on Save, and we can save our application. Give that a second to save, and if you wanted to, you can share. I'm not going to do that now, but if you click on the back button, you'll be taken back to your screen. So note we only have the option for a app and the option for screen 1. Let's rename screen 1 to template, and if we save that, you can see this is going to be our app template screen. Let's create a new screen. So if you click on Home, and under Home you have the option for New Screen. You can see we have a number of different options that we can select. We might be selecting some of them later, but for now, let's click on Blank. And you can see it renames it to Screen 2. Let's rename that, and let's call this Master. So you might be thinking, why am I creating a template and a master? So if you're familiar with web development, you would have probably created a CSS file, cascading style sheet, and this file was used as to define your styles, and your web pages were using these styles. So if you wanted to change your font or your color, you would just change it in your CSS file, and it would be updated on all of your pages. So templates is not really like a CSS file, but we will use it in a similar way. So we'll be defining our colors and our fonts and background colors and that sort of thing in our template. That will be used in our master, and the master will be copied to create our home page, our edit page, and so forth. So it just makes it easier to edit your content so that you don't have to go to each page and edit them individually. So if we click on template, what I want to do over here, I want to go to insert, and under insert we have our option for icons, and we can scroll down to the rectangle icon, and we can see it over here, and this is just a rectangle. If we reposition it and if we extend it across the width of the page, that will be our rectangle for our header. So what we might want to do is change the color. So you can either go to your color and look for fill, and if you click on fill, you can see over here it's got a RGBA value, and we can also do that by selecting the item and going to the properties and editing the color in the properties. You can see you have a color palette over here, so you can select different colors. If I select red, it will update my bar over there. So I don't want to use red, I want to use a custom color, and the color that I'll be selecting is BAE 1F2, and you can see that is a light blue color. When you enter that in over here, when you enter the hexadecimal value, it also gives you the RGBA value, and you could also use that in your bar. You can see over here that corresponds to the value that I've entered over here. You can also make it lighter or transparent, and you can also change the color if you wanted to from this color picker. I'll close that because this is all I want to do over there. What I also want to do is add an icon, and I want to add a title. So let's first add the icon. This will be the icon for our application. So if we scroll down, our application will be an employee application. So we will be setting the employee icon or the people icon. Let's just reposition that so that it's nicely centered. And what I want to do, I want to change the color of this icon. So you can see if I go to my properties, I scroll all the way down and I can select a different color, in this case, white. So here we have defined the color of our icon and we have defined our icon. What I want to do is add a label. So if you go to label, it will add it to our rectangle bar. And what I want to do over here, I want to edit the text. So I will name this employee application. And I'll click outside of there to save it. What I would also like to do to my employee application, I would like to change the font. So if you click on it and you go to properties, you can see you've got the text, you've got the fonts, which is set to Open Sans, and I will change that to light or black. And you also have your font size. I'll change that font size to 30. And I think that is all that we're going to change for the font. Let's actually change the color so it's the same as the label. So if you scroll all the way down and you go to the color property and you click on the A, you can change the color to a color that you think is appropriate. So let's just click on our text again. You can see it's not really displaying nicely. So if we just expand that text box, and you can see we have our employee application. So play around with those properties and add additional properties over here. We'll be adding buttons. These buttons will be used to define the color of our buttons and also the hover effect of the buttons, as well as additional icons that we will be adding over here. So what I want to do in our template, it's also important to rename everything. So I will call this the rectangle. I will call this template header bar. Obviously, you can name it whatever you want, but try keep the names descriptive. Let's rename the label to header title. And let's rename the icon to template header icon. I actually renamed this one wrong, so let's rename it again, and let's name this template. Is that correct? Yes, template header title, template header icon, and template header bar. So those are all the properties that we're going to be adding here. So this will be fine for our template for the moment. So what I want to do is head over to our master page, and in our master page we will go to again to icons. We will select the rectangle. If I can find it, it's there. I will set the position and the width. And what we did previously, we selected the fill color. So I'll go look for my fill color over here. And instead of changing the RGBA value or changing the value on the color picker, I will just remove that RGBA. And what I will enter over here is template header. And you can see it has an autocorrect and it gives you the value over there. And as soon as I select it, you can see my background color for my master header bar is changed. Let's rename this rectangle, and let's just call it header or header bar. Again, you can name it whatever you want, but try keep it descriptive, so if someone else is working on the site, it will be a lot easier for them. So let's add an icon. I'm just going to add any icon, and I'm going to position it over here. And if you go to the icon and you go to the properties or the function selector of the icon, and you scroll down to icon, you can see by default over here in the formula, it's got icon add. I actually want to remove that, and I want to name that to template header icon. I typed that wrong. Template. Okay, you can see over here it doesn't find it because there's an error, and it's good to notice these things because when you have an error, you'll see that you have an option to edit your formula, or you can go for help. And you can also see over here on this icon over here, it's giving you some information, and you can click on it and you can check your formulas and see what the problem is. I already know what the problem is. My typing is really terrible. So if I go back to the header template icon and I say rename, I will name this header template icon, not uh, team template header icon. So with that correct, I'll go back to my master page. I'll select my icon, and you can see over here we have icon, and it's got template header. Now it's auto-correcting, and you can see the icon, but we have to say dot. And if you enter dot, you can see all of the properties that icon that is available to you based from the icon in your template. So what I want to select is icon, and automatically it's setting the icon to the same property of the icon that we have in our template. Another property that I want to set on this is the color. So if we go to color, we remove the RGBA value and we say template header, and again you can see over here from the autocorrect you select the icon and it automatically sets the color for the icon. So if I go back to my template over here and I change this color over here of the people icon to, let's say, red, it will automatically update every page that is using the same property as the master page. So you can see this over here is red. Let's go back to the icon and change that back to white, because red is not the color that I want, but you see the flexibility that you have and how easy it makes it to update content. So let's rename the icon to header icon. And if we click out there, you can see it saves it. And let's add a not a text field, a label. And this label will be for the name of the application. Again, you could use any icon over here or any name that you wanted to, but I will set this text to header, sorry, not header, template, header, and you can see it gives you the options, and I will say title, and automatically it sets the title of the text of that property that we defined in our header template title. So other properties that we need to set are the font, the size, and also the color. We can obviously do that over here. If you don't want to inherit the same properties as you have in your template, you could always override that and use a different property. But because I've entered that in, I will go and I'll select the size. Remember, the size that we set was to template. My typing today is terrible. Template header title dot color. Sorry, dot size. Please make sure you make it with a capital S. If you do it with the small s, you'll get an error and you'll have the autocorrect. So now when we set the size, you can see it's a lot bigger. And what we need to do now, we need to go and we need to select the color. And I think if we scroll up, we should find the, okay, let's first do the font. And I guess you know the process. So if we say template, header, title, and we are setting the font. So if you press dot, it will give you an option of all the properties that you have available to you that you would like to inherit. So let's select font, and you can see over here it's changed the font. Let's do the last one, which is the color. You've got to select the label first, otherwise it's not going to do anything. And if we scroll up, you can see over here we have color. Let's remove the RGBA value, and let's say template, header, and so we don't get any errors. Let's select the autocorrect, and if you press the dot, again, you have all of the variables that you can select, or the properties that you can select. In this case, it's color. Great. So what we've done, we set up the basic structure of our page, how we would like our pages for in our next pages. So we could also create a home page. Let's actually do that quickly. So if you click on the 3 ellipses over here and you say duplicate, it would duplicate that screen, and you can see we have the same properties and the same variables that we have on the home screen. Let's actually just rename this label 2 to header title. I should have done that before I duplicated it, but we can also rename this over here to header title, so that it's the same. Note over here, once we've duplicated it, it's given the name of the screen, master 1, and it's giving the title, header title 1, header icon 1, and header bar 1. If you wanted to rename this to header bar without the 1, and we click out there to save it, you can see we get an error because you can't have the same names. These names are already used. So let's rename our master 1 to home screen. And if we save that, you can see now we have our home screen where we can start adding our gallery and start populating it with data. So we will be doing that in the next video. I think that will be enough for now. And let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to save your application, and I will see you in the next video.